Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle and I'm Elvis Lassie here on YouTube. And today we're going to crack into the Joan Rivers show, which we have been watching recently. Thanks so much for joining me. So this is part 4 and it's got so many Elvis co-stars in it. So we have Marianne Mobley, Stella Stevens, Nancy Sinatra and Sue Ann Langdon. And yeah, there's been some interesting chat. Very interesting. If you're interested, I've created a playlist. I'll put the playlist down in the comments. Please go and have a look at the playlist because it will have all the previous ones. So I'm going to get you ready so that we can see it full screen here. And yeah, let's get into it. Part 4.
We're talking with Elvis's leading ladies, and in case you missed it, Stella Stevens and Marianne Mobley and Sue Ann Langdon and Nancy Sinatra. What are some of the big misconceptions, Nancy, about him? Are there any?
Yeah. Well, first of all, that he's alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that is not true.
Why is this persisted?
I don't know. I knew him one way always. I did not know him the way Stella knew him. I didn't know him as he was later on. We stayed in touch. My children were born. I sent him pictures. He sent me flowers. You know, it was not a one-on-one kind of relationship where I could have kept track of him. I really regret that I did lose him there at the end. Maybe, you know, we all have those regrets. Maybe I could have helped him somehow.
Do any of you feel that way too?
Absolutely.
Gee, if I'd known more, I could have saved him, quote unquote. You know?
Well, I don't know if I could have saved him. I think that would be very presumptuous on my part, but I wanted to be his friend because he was a friend to me. He was a very loyal and kind and generous friend. And I felt that because he was the big star, that you hesitated to call him up and say, "Hi, Elvis, you know, how you doing?" And I think if more of us had done that probably he would have, maybe his life would have been enriched a little more.
Could you get through with all the Elvis Mafia, they used to call him? I mean, he was always surrounded by the
Well,
guys.
I did visit him a couple of times in Las Vegas after I worked with him, and one of the misconceptions is that, and I wasn't that big a fan, and all who missed his live performances don't know how fantastic he was.
He was, yeah.
It was, the charisma, and it was amazing. It was exciting. It was just so wonderful, and to see the crowd work with him and love him so much. And I used to go backstage afterwards, and I remember one time I was allowed backstage, and we did the usual fun jokes and all the kind of stuff in the patter. But the second time that I saw him, I was not allowed to go back because, and that's probably when it would have been good to help him. They said he just wasn't feeling well, you know.
Did you ever get any gifts?
No,
Did you say anything, Nancy?
Yeah, I want to ask everybody something. It's ironic to me. It's confusing to me how my father, who is one of the great entertainers of the world, and Elvis, who was one of the great entertainers of the world, how they could lead such different lives. My father was always taking us to the market, or we would go to J.C. Penney's and buy tennis shoes. Elvis could barely leave his house, or felt he couldn't. The fame, I think, was about the same. I've never been able to figure this out. I don't understand it to this day. There's something in there.
Even when I worked with him, which he was still very young, he slept all day and he was awake all night. He would go to Memphis and have movies run in the middle of the night. And I lost track of him too. And I remember a time when he was in the hospital in Memphis and I sent him flowers. But I never heard from Elvis again after the movie. I lost touch completely.
Gifts. We're going to go to a commercial. I want to find, because we always heard great gifts. I want to know if any of you got something you could say, look, Elvis gave me this. Because I know he sent me something, but it's in the mail. We'll be back. We'll be back in a moment with more, so please stay tuned.
Okay guys, so let's dissect that a little. There's lots in there. Difficult to know where to start on that one. It got me emotional when Nancy spoke about Frank Sinatra and just having a different kind of way and being. Oh my goodness, it's such a difficult subject to navigate. So I'm just gonna say, who knows? Elvis had a lot of issues with sleep and things like that, so that's why I would say that he slept all day and was awake all night. That just became a ritual for him because he did find it hard to come down from the excitement of what he's been doing and stuff. But yeah, Stella was a little bit more sweeter there. I loved what Sue Langdon said about not being a fan, but when she saw him live, everything changed. I absolutely adored that part because that is quite true. And I love Marianne Mobley again, how she is not presuming that she would have changed things if she had been there. And I love that whole thing because you can think, oh, I would have changed things, but you can't presume to think that you could change Elvis Presley. He was his own man and this is it. But I did think it was very interesting when she said that maybe if others had felt they could reach out and that maybe they felt they couldn't because he was such a big superstar, and that's what held so many people back from maybe speaking and phoning Elvis just as a friend. So fame is such a hard thing to navigate. Nobody could give Elvis a manual. This is how you do it, son. This is how you get through it. He didn't have that manual. He had to just navigate it through it himself, and the best he could in a world of, or coming from a world of complete and utter poverty into the stratospheric realms of fame and another kind of fame than Frank Sinatra. And I know Frank Sinatra had a teeny bopper extreme experience in the early days, but Elvis was a complete and utter mismatch because it was considered by a certain amount of people as wrong. He had to fight through that and navigate through that, and then coming through that and to be a family entertainer when he came from that 50s rock and roll music that people were offended by, or some people were, most of the people were in love. So Elvis had to navigate through a lot of storms and a lot of things, and then he was closeted in the movies. Then he had to navigate into coming back into live performances. So he had a lot of struggles, a lot of uphill battles. He battled them, he done them, and he worked alongside them, and he became revered because of his amazingness. So yeah, that was a difficult one to navigate through. I thought there was a lot of good chat there and better chat and none of the bullying kind of chat that we've seen before. And I really enjoyed that one, and I think you might too. Tell me all your thoughts. What are your thoughts on it? Because yeah, I don't know. I can't get to the bottom of my thinking on that one. So please put down all your comments. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, it doesn't matter if we disagree. That is the world that we live in. It's beautiful. We can disagree. We can say that we don't agree with each other. Isn't that glorious? It's free speech. We are in a place where we can do that. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's enjoy our liberties. But be kind. All right. So thanks very much for joining me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on another. Bye everyone.